At some point, you've probably done it too. Shoved candy into your sleeve, hid a soda in your hoodie pocket, maybe even snuck in an entire rotisserie chicken or shrimp cocktail, or yes, an actual fondue pot. You wouldn't be the first, or the most creative. But here's the twist. Sneaking snacks into the movies isn't just a modern act of rebellion. It's the shadow side of a billion-dollar business model. For more than a century, movie theaters have played a double role. Not just as screening rooms, but as snack monopolies. And what's on your plate, or more importantly, what's not, has been shaped by economics, lawsuits, etiquette columns, and some very salty politics. So, just when did concessions become the real blockbuster of the movie business? And why did bringing your own food to the cinema become such a crime? Stay tuned to find out, as today we discover the history of sneaking food into the movies. I'm your host, Ryan Sokash, and you're watching Eats History. It's easy to assume that popcorn has always been part of the movie-going experience, but in the early 1900s, movie theaters wanted nothing to do with snacks. The fanciest venues explicitly banned food. Crinkling candy wrappers and popcorn kernels were considered low-class distractions, more suited to street fairs than velvet-draped palaces. That's right, movie theaters were trying to mimic opera houses. Eating was something you did before or after the show, not during. But then came the Great Depression as attendance plummeted. Theaters got desperate. Popcorn, sold cheaply on the street, started slipping through the doors, and some owners made deals with those sidewalk vendors. Others saw an opportunity and installed their own popcorn machines. It worked. Concessions saved the cinema. By the 1930s, theaters that sold snacks survived. Theaters that didn't. And so the snack bar became a permanent fixture. Popcorn, soda, candy, soon joined by nachos, hot dogs, and even pizza. The reason? Margins, of course. You see, ticket profits had always been split with the movie studios. But the snacks? That was pure theater revenue, with markups that would make a Wall Street investor weep with joy. From that point on, the movie business wasn't just about filling seats, it was about filling stomachs. Theaters adjusted showtime, ticket channels, and even movie selections to keep people coming in hungry. But as snack menus expanded, so did prices. And this is where the rebellion began. By the 1980s and 90s, it wasn't just suggested, it was policy that you bring in no outside food or drink. This mantra was posted on doors, printed on tickets, and even spoken over intercoms. But the more theaters pushed, the more moviegoers pushed back. Some hid snacks in purses or jackets, but others went big. And I found some pretty interesting cases to back that up. One man brought in a rotisserie chicken. Teens in Texas tried to set up a fondue pot. A woman in Florida snuck in shrimp cocktail, complete with saucer cups and forks. Not to be outdone, another guest reportedly unwrapped a full sub sandwich mid-film and offered slices to his friends. As for the theaters, they didn't take lightly to this belligerent behavior. Rather, they pushed back. In Spokane, a mom was kicked out after staff found Capri Suns in her stroller. In Utah, teens were booted for sharing a family-sized Dorito bag before the trailer had even ended. And in one of the most infamous cases, a woman named Marie Lavalle was ejected from a Miami theater in 1991 for eating a sugarless cookie. Here's the twist. She brought that cookie in for medical reasons. Even so, the theater called the cops. It seemed that nothing moved the needle. Theater managers insisted that the rules were about cleanliness, safety, and fairness, but moviegoers saw it differently. As one letter to the editor put it, quote, "We weren't disturbing anyone. We just didn't want to pay $4 for a snack that cost $1. Meanwhile, the math behind the scenes only confirmed it. Some chains were making half their profit from snacks alone. In one study, theaters reported that while ticket sales made up the bulk of revenue, they produced less than half of the profit. The real money came from concession stands, popcorn, soda, and increasingly, elaborate combo deals. So theaters enforced the rules. Moviegoers kept snacking on snacks, and the arms race only escalated. As a result, so-called luxury cinemas emerged, offering full dinner menus with wine lists, but the same tensions lingered, and the prices became outrageous. To give you a little perspective here, if you wanted a side of bread to go with your gourmet meal, that could cost you around $25 extra. So people carried on. stuffing candy into their oversized hoodie, or smuggling fast food in their backpack. It didn't matter if you were a teenager, a parent, or a retiree. If you brought your own snacks, you were technically breaking the rules. And yet, millions of people did it anyways. So perhaps this whole video has just been a long way to ask the question, is it legal to bring outside food into the movie theater? Well, technically, yes. There's no law in the books that says you can't walk into a theater with a sandwich in your bag. But theaters are private businesses. And that means they get to make the rules, such as no outside food or drink, in terms of their entry. And if you break that rule, they're legally allowed to ask you to leave. It's not a crime, but it is grounds for ejection. In some cases, you might even be banned or denied a refund. So, while it's not illegal technically, it's also not protected. Kind of like showing up to a black tie event in sneakers. You probably won't get arrested, but don't be surprised if you're shown the door.